Get ready for the greatest roast of all time, the Roast of Tom Brady, a Netflix live event happening May 5th. Hosted by Kevin Hart, the 7-time world champion gets his cleats held to the fire by famous friends and frenemies on an unforgettable night where everything is fair game. Tune in on May 5th at 5 p.m. Pacific time for the Roast of Tom Brady, live only on Netflix.
You ready?
Showtime.
On May 3rd, summer starts with The Fall Guy.
Let's do it later.
Let's drink a spicy margarita.
Make some bad decisions.
Yes!
Audiences are falling in love with the most entertaining film of the year.
Fall Guy.
Fall Guy?
Fall guy.
That's what the poster said.
See Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt in the movie critics say exists to make you happy.
Trying to make it out?
Nope.
Because I don't either. It's not what I'm into right now.
What are you into?
Talking.
Yeah.
The Fall Guy. Only in theaters May 3rd. Rated PG-13.
Hey guys, time to get in on the action for the biggest moments in basketball with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projections, place your entry, and win up to 100 times your money. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit of up to $100. Just download the Prize Picks app and use the code GET100. That's code GET100 on Prize Picks for a first deposit match of up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more. Pick less. It's that easy.
My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. Give me beer, whiskey, wine or gin. Anything to shake this mood I'm in. My football team's got me drinking.
Back at it again with another shade of blue. Deep, dark shade of blue this week. Heavy drinking our team is making us do. 1-0 shutout loss for Sporting Kansas City at Rio Tinto last night.
We sucked.
2 straight losses, 5 games without a win.
It was terrible to watch.
It's a quick turnaround this week with the U.S. Open Cup game against Union Omaha on Wednesday. But we wanted to talk about this game because it got bleak last night, boys. My name is Cody Bradley. I have Mike Kuhn and Thad Bell here with me. You can find me on Twitter at @ThatCody, though. Thad is at the back post. I will tell you for him because he always forgets. And Mike is down the byline, of course. The 2 standard Sporting KC Twitter accounts. Must follows, those 2. Mike, like I said, it got bleak last night. So I know they were kind of forced into some of these changes. We don't really know what happened with Tim Melia, but some injuries kind of built in an excuse early on in this game, but we talk about this a lot on the show, Mike. There's always something. And yes, it was a rough lineup, but the problem we're talking about is a lack of depth on this team. So, Mike, are you giving them a pass for this game, or were you just as upset watching this one as I was?
We sucked.
I mean, if anything, it kind of reinforces the whole idea that the depth on the team isn't that great.
Yeah.
I mean, and I say that the defense wasn't bad last night. I thought Memo had a decent game in the midfield. The Volader, Fontas, standard mistakes that you're gonna have that we've come to expect. But I wasn't furious with the defense outside of the set piece defending late. It just the team as a whole going forward looks slow, anemic, and reactive.
They didn't have it on the night. You were talking about the depth of the team worrying us. This game was so bleak for me because it started making me feel like the starting lineup isn't even good enough. You know, we talk about, they just need 1 or 2 guys in the summer window, but I started having feelings in this game like, oh my God, we're several players away from this one. Polito was silent again. Johnny was back there. His tricks were working, but even on that, I think it was probably the best chance of the game for Sporting KC. Even his first touch kind of let him down. It was a difficult ball to deal with, but I don't know. Thad, where are you at with the depth of this team? Were you as upset as I was?
I'm disappointed with pretty much everything right now. All of Kansas City soccer today.
Yeah.
And I have to confess, I did not watch the game live.
You didn't miss much.
I I've watched highlights, I've watched little bits, and I will sit down and pretty much force myself to kind of watch the whole thing. But I will tell you a story. Last night I was shooting an event with another photographer who knows Kansas City soccer pretty well. And we got done with one part of it. We're going to change equipment to go do the party pics for the post, the post party and all that stuff. I look at FootMob. I go, it's 80th minute. It's 0-0. And they go, oh, yeah, that's good. Yay. Maybe we're going to pull out a draw. That's a good result. And I went, yeah, it's the 80th minute. They'll still have a chance to score. I looked later, and it was the 81st minute, according to FootMob, when they gave up the lead, or they gave up the goal and lost the game. So that was just kind of how I felt about the team. Like, I don't have faith in them when they.
Yeah.
And I kind of think they feel that way about themselves at this point. When they get to the 80th minute, something will happen. They'll give up a goal.
Yeah, and this one was different than the others in that I think the team was playing well enough you could find reasons to be happy that they put themselves in the game. And this one, I think they were lucky to go as long as 0-0 as they did. And yes, I know we've seen the screenshots that soccer photometry guy, whatever that guy is, said it was offside. The Chicho Arango goal was offside by, he said, 7 inches. But see, that's the difference is I don't feel undone by that one thing. I feel like this 1-0 result was pretty fair, Mike.
No, I agree with you on that. I mean, as a whole, for me, that wasn't clear and obvious.
Right.
I have said that a couple times that I didn't feel like the angle that we got and everything, it wasn't clear and obvious unless you were wanting them to be offside. If you wanted them to be offside, they were clearly offside. The same with last week when it was even a closer decision. But I mean, based off the game, a 1-0 result for Salt Lake is, as you said, it's probably a fair result, all things considered.
Now, one thing we have to talk about here. You said they were fine in the midfield. The defense wasn't that terrible, but I think at least in that first half, they did have some good chances. It was just we had a bit of a hole in the midfield. They were forced into some changes, like we said, but somehow Marinos Janis was dug up out of nowhere. Hasn't really even been playing with Sporting KC2 all of that much. First appearance since October with the first team. He was playing out of position for another thing that was just going against him. It was a big opportunity for him to try to get himself back in the lineup, but Thad, it was so bad I felt sorry for him at times.
It's fine to feel sorry for him because he seems to be a nice guy, but he's kind of doing it himself. He needs to play. He's the one that needs to play better. And I mean, there's always going to be the debate. I think Mike and somebody else was talking about it on Twitter yesterday. Is it the coaching or is it him or who needs to be better? Or is it a little bit of both? He still has to step up, man. Every time you get a chance, you got to do something.
I can't even really think of one thing he did that was okay. I mean, they couldn't connect passes through him at all. His first touch was off. He had poor passing. They just could not get anything going with him right there. And like I said, they had chances in the first half. Like I think not that I think Felipe was the answer because he obviously didn't change anything coming in for him at halftime. But yeah, I mean, I do think with a different lineup, maybe if Remy's in there, I think that they might sneak one goal in the first half. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I do think it was a fair result. It felt like that goal was coming all the time. Volater almost passed one directly into the net. They bounced one off the post. It just felt like it was coming.
I'd say a fair result.
Okay, let's take a quick break, and we will be right back.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
All right, we're back. Thad, you went viral this week. I don't know if it really went viral, but you had a moment this week. Jake signed a contract extension. Congratulations to Jake Davis. And in his press conference, he gave our old buddy Thad some love. That was very sweet of him to give you that recognition. Thad has been there at every stage of his career. At every stage of every sporting player's career, Thad has been there. So it was very cool to see Jake do that, Thad.
That's a very nice way of saying I'm really old. No, it was Jake is a really good guy. He's a nice guy. He's a really good player. Jake Davis, I really like the guy, and I've been wishing him well since he was first coming out of the academy. And I think that's just one of the things is I've shooting games down at Swope Park, and he'd be, if he wasn't in the lineup, he'd be standing there or whatever. And I would just say hi to him and talk to him a little bit and just kind of say, hey, I think you're doing well, man. Keep it up, that sort of thing. So it was just nice for him to say that, but it's kind of embarrassing. None of this is supposed to be about me. It's supposed to be about them. So,
yes, and it was about Jake. It is deserved. I've seen a lot of people trying to say that he's been the only good player for Sporting Kansas City as of late. Mike, what do you think? I saw a discussion about Jake in our Slack. Does he still have room to grow? Or do you think we've maybe kind of seen the ceiling of Jake? Is this he's a suitable MLS player, but does he have another level to find?
I mean, my opinion is he still has room to grow as a player, but I think his ceiling in terms of where he's going to be, like where his peak as a player is as a solid MLS starter, a solid MLS contributor. I unfortunately don't think he's got a national team future outside of maybe some Camp Cupcake call-ups in January. I don't think he's a candidate for a Big Five league in Europe.
Right.
If he wanted to go to Europe, it would probably be something like a Scandinavian country or something. So I think his peak in terms of level of play is a solid MLS starter. Now he can still become a better player, but I don't think we're going to see him in the Bundesliga, in the Premier League. I don't think he's going to reach. I would argue he's probably not even going to reach like the Eredivisie in the Netherlands at that level, and that's fine. He can have a very solid MLS career. I mean, look at players like, and I'm probably even going above Jake Davis saying this, but like look at a Graham Zusi, look at a Matt Beasler, look at the guys that have had solid MLS careers basically, and they don't. That's fine. I don't think he has a high ceiling in terms of playing at the national team, being a guy in that program.
Yeah, I think so. I think maybe they've done well. We don't know what he's getting paid yet. Of course, we don't see that until 2 specific releases throughout the year. But I think they've, at the very least, locked up a backup right back for many years to come, because it is going to be interesting if Caden Pierre can come in and fight him for that spot. But just to go back to that, yes, we had to talk about Jake there because it was about Jake. But I wanted to read what Zach said. Zachary Cobb, friend of the show, retweeted the video that Blake sent out. But Zach said about Thad, the story of soccer in KC isn't complete without the words and images of Thad Bell. And I thought that was very sweet. It is very true. Thad, we don't do enough around here to show you the love and respect that you get. And I will just say, it was refreshing that someone from the team did give you that love and respect. I would like to see more of that.
Again, it doesn't have to be about me. It's not supposed to be about me, but I appreciated Blake doing that. Blake's a really nice guy. I've got to know him this year, going to pressers and to practices.
I like Blake.
He's a good guy, so I appreciated that. And Zach, love Zach. But there's a lot of people that the story is told around here. Mike, of course, the unofficial, official historian of soccer in Kansas City.
Yeah, man, kids these days, we have such a young audience at the Journal here. I know that for sure, that they don't even know how the work that some of these people have done for Kansas City soccer, the grinding that they did at Community America Ballpark, and building this team in this stadium. So thank you very much. I'm happy to have you guys on, a wealth of knowledge. Mike, we don't always get to have you on, so I thank you for kind of joining late here and letting us get one in on this short turnaround. I'm leaving on Wednesday, so I won't be able to do one after the Union Omaha game. But we missed one last week. Yeah, I guess we should mention that. With the last week we attempted a live stream at the Comets game. It was a great show. It was a really good show. Junior Kazim was really good. It was really good stuff, but for whatever reason the audio didn't quite work. I think we've worked out the kinks on that, and we're gonna keep trying that. We're gonna get it right again at some point in the future.
Yeah, it was fun trying to do a live stream and shuffle guests in. Keith Tozier, commissioner of MASL.
Yeah, we were doing it all live, man. We were shuffling guests in and out, doing things on the fly. It was great. I think it was a really good show. Just no one heard it.
Well, they kind of heard it.
So yeah, we're gonna try that again in the future. Yeah, Mike. Thank you to anyone else besides Mike that was sticking it out and listening to that. I went ahead and just hid the video because it wasn't worth it. But so yes, I'm sorry to our listeners that we didn't figure out another time last week to get one of these in. So we are getting one in quickly now on a short turnaround. I've got to talk about. I can't go any longer talking about this game without the Brian Vera yellow card that should have been a red. We got a retweet from Alexi Lawless. So the notifications are, the mentions and the notifications are going crazy all day today. Very successful tweet, but unfortunately it is a video of Daniel Shallowy being picked up like a doll and thrown around. We're kind of getting dragged a little bit for this. And I'll start it. Well, okay, yeah. Let's just start about how terrible that Vera was here. Mike, on what planet is this not a red card? The first thing, just picking him up 5 seconds after a guy goes down, that's one thing. But Eric Tommy, in my opinion, did well to go over there and bait him into something else, and he got pushed down. I'm sorry, but after the push, while the referee is restraining him, you have to give that guy a red card, Mike.
What is the I'll ask you. I'll answer your question with a question. What is the red card offense in that situation? What is, by the laws of the game, the red card in that situation?
Unnecessary roughness. Is that a real one? Unnecessary roughness.
That's the other football.
That applies.
Dissent is a yellow card offense. You could make a case for endangering the safety of an opponent, a case, but I thought a yellow was fine in that situation personally. But if you're going to give a red, it would probably have to be for an endangering the safety of the opponent situation. But then again, you have like a situation a couple of years ago where Tim Melia rock bottomed Christian Roldan and got a yellow card for that situation. So I mean, who really knows? But in my opinion, it was dumb, but I don't think it was a red card. I could have seen it as one, but in my opinion, I don't think it was a red card.
Thad, you always both side things. Help me out here. Come on, both sides this one.
Picking him up was a yellow, just because endangering a player, unsportsmanlike conduct, something, and then shoving Tommy could have been a yellow, so it could have been a double yellow in like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
But I also kind of agree with it was probably just a yellow overall for the entire sequence of play there.
I think I'm just more frustrated because a few minutes before that, they had a player down for several minutes. Sporting Kansas City kicks the ball out of bounds, and he instantly hops up when the referee runs over there and shows that he was not injured. He was just doing it so that he would get to be able to wag his finger directly in the referee's face. I have never seen a player show so much visual dissent against a referee and not get a yellow card for that. I don't know how he did that. Wagging his finger, no, saying no over and over again. I cannot believe it. I don't understand it, how that guy avoided a yellow card there. It's the definition of dissent, Thad.
I think the definition of insanity is, trying to make sense of MLS referees' inconsistency.
That's fair. That's fair. But like I said, I think this was a fair result, so I don't want to complain too terribly much about that. The thing that is getting me, though, is that we're getting dragged for this. This is 2 weeks in a row that we kind of look like we got punked, where we're getting out physical. We got the guy on the ground asking for this. We need that. I know Shallowy was really just on the ground for maybe not even 5 seconds, which is why that was so annoying that he picked him up like that. But I don't know. It seems like they got out physicaled again. The other team was meaner than they were again, Mike.
Well, I'll go back to a comment I made during the St. Louis game. This team lacks and I'm not saying bring him back, but this team lacks a Roger Espinoza.
Yeah.
This team lacks a guy that will just go out and just get a yellow card, just to reset momentum, reset the balance of the game. They don't have a guy with a mean streak that'll just knock a guy on his ass and get a yellow card in situations. And sometimes you need a guy that'll be physical and just go out and get a yellow card when he needs to.
Well, I saw a very quick retaliation on that. Somebody came in and delivered a very big push to Vera, and I was kind of surprised that someone on our team didn't get a yellow. I don't know how much harder you can push a player without just punching them. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else you're supposed to do there. Maybe just because of the way things are going this season, we needed someone to just straight up start a fight and show some passion and all that. I don't know. Maybe that's what the team needed there.
And if Johnny Russell isn't going to be the guy to do that, then who the hell is?
Well, I think Johnny was the one that ran in and shoved him. But sometimes on a play like that, you're just not close enough. Maybe Johnny needed to sprint 60 yards to come over and be part of that commotion. So, I don't know, man. It just feels like we got punked again. It feels like we're weak, and it's just so starkly different from the teams we're used to.
I know it's been questioned how a Peter Vermes team can not be good defensively, but how can a Peter Vermes team not be tough?
Yeah. And am I being unfair? Do you feel like the team, or do you feel like we're not tough?
I think they haven't been tough in the right moments. I'll
Right.
definitely say that. And again, there's players who are not tough. I mean, that's just the nature of the game, but Willie Agata is not exactly going to be the strongest guy out there. And Tommy's not going to be exactly, which was kind of funny because I thought Tommy was one of the guys who was actually hitting people in the St. Louis game.
He was.
So I like Tommy right now.
I like Tommy too, but he contributed to some of the embarrassment that I felt during this game. There was a moment he had, I know you all know the exact moment I'm talking about. Someone gave him a terrible pass. The right touch, all he needed was the right touch, and no one would have been in between him and the goal. He would have been off and running, and it was an ugly moment. Not a shining moment for the league. It was one of those, I think he saw he had so much time, and 10 things went across his head on how he should handle this, and he just kind of stepped over the ball and fell over it. And I just threw my hands in the air like, well, this team just doesn't have it tonight, Mike.
Well, I mean, that, if I remember the play right, that was a pass that came from a Salt Lake player.
Yeah.
That he intercepted, basically, right?
Right.
I'm thinking of that play. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not excusing it, but it's one of those situations where it's like, whoa, I actually got the ball. They actually played that pass.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just, yeah, it in that situation, it's as you said, in that moment, it's like, yeah, this is not going to be our night, is it?
I think that's a tendency of teams, though. When confidence is low, when you're expecting something to go wrong, things go wrong. It's when you're confident and everything's been going right, everything goes right for you. You win games, you pull out draws in the right moments. But it's mental at this point. It's got to be, because they're not that bad, are they?
That's what I was asking myself. I was saying that question in my head when you asked that.
Again, in a regular season, a 1-0 loss at Salt Lake is like, okay, move on to the next game.
Right.
A close loss at Minnesota. Okay, move on to the next game. But it's just that, again, the season's not as bad as it was last year. But at 10 games into last year, they started making a turnaround. You still knew Polito could get better. You knew Gotti was coming back. You had all those things. This year, you don't have anything to look forward to except a potential summer signing. I don't know. Maybe we're going to get some guy from Germany come in and solve everything.
I mean, you said it was singular what you said there. And I think I'm just reaching the point where it's one player is not going to fix this. But that is why this hurts so much. They have 5 more points through 11 games than they did last year. And you know what? If they had those 5 points last year, then I think they would have tied St. Louis for the lead in the West. So I don't know. Again, it could all turn around. And I still understand all that. Like, once the lineup came out with the injuries that we saw, I don't know how much more you could have expected. Like 1-0. At least we didn't get blown out by Chicho Arango.
Right.
Like the dude could have scored 5 goals. But and I want to talk about more of this when we come back from break. But it's always something. It's always something. We have a chance, but we're just not quite there. And I'm just so tired of doing that same show every week, Thad, for the last 4 or 5 years.
This podcast is sponsored by Ramp. Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's business cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp for free. Just go to ramp.com/easy. Ramp.com/easy. RAMP.com/easy.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Okay, we're back. There's always something, Thad. Like I was saying, we are on the same page that a 1-0 result, even with a full lineup, 1-0 result in RSL, who is red hot, a very good team right now, is not the end of the world. But it's just the way this season has been going, Thad. Back-to-back losses. It's always something. It's always something different. But this time it was, now it was injuries. Last time it was refs. Now it's injuries.
It's everything, though. Again, I'm not blaming refs. I'm not even blaming injuries. I just think that it's mental in their play right now. Their confidence is down. It's you give up a couple of games, late goals, and a draw and a loss or whatever. And again, we have to ask about it. Hey, how's the team doing? What's well, is there something you need to do better to not do those give up late goals? And then it's a theme, and then it's a trend, and it just goes on. And at some point they have to turn it around. Like last year, 10 games in, we were talking about, can this team ever win a game? And then they did. Something turned it around.
Well, Mike, I want to hear your thoughts on this. I think a product of the Vermees system, for better or worse, I think something that the Vermees system has is that we are always in a game. What he has set up, even though the players are not as maybe high quality as some of the other teams in the league, you always feel like this team can be in a game. And that's good. There's something there. There's a value there. But I think what is really growing the frustration among the fans over these years is that the good teams in the league are probably experiencing these problems with the ref. They all get injuries. They all have that one bad missed moment in a game. But I think the difference is that Sporting Kansas City isn't good enough to overcome that one thing every game. There's always something.
No, at least in the current form that this team is in, you are 100% correct. I mean, they have players that in theory should be able to play through a bad refereeing decision, a rough stretch. You have Alan Polito, Johnny Russell, Daniel Shalhoub. You have guys that should be able to do this, and it's not happening. I'll go as far as to say, you talked before the break about we have 5 more points and where that would have put us last year. The difference between last year and this year, though, is I'll use a term that they used last year. We have the full toolbox right now.
Right.
We're not waiting for Gotti Kinda to get healthy. We're not waiting for Alan Polito to get healthy. We're not waiting for, I guess this one's sort of true, we weren't waiting for as much Johnny Russell to get at 100% healthy.
We're waiting for a potential mysterious player.
Yeah, and we're not getting – we have what we have until July. There's nobody in the system as it stands right now who's going to come and put this team to another level to get us to that 2 points per game or whatever exactly it was in the final 24 games of the season that allowed Sporting to make the playoffs last year. By the time whatever summer signing it is comes in, we'll have, I believe, less than half our games left in the season. So that you're narrowing your window to have a run. And yeah, the way the team is playing right now, it's more difficult this year to see a rebound because you don't have those guys coming in with 2/3 of the season left to help turn the season around like you did last year.
And part of the mechanism that Sporting will potentially have to help them bring in a player or 2 or 3 over the summer is the same advantage that every other team is all of a sudden going to get in the middle of the summer with the new rules changes. So it's even the other teams may be able to improve at the same time that Sporting would be able to improve.
Bleak.
Can they turn it around? They can, yes. I mean, they have the toolbox to play better than they are now.
So, okay, how about that? Yes, I think you're right. They have the toolbox to play better than they are now, but how high does that go? They're not one of the, even at the peak of what they could do with this current roster, they're not one of the better teams in the league. They might be above the playoff line, which they're not currently, but I still, like we said, they need someone in the summer transfer window if this team is going to be as good as we hope the team is every year.
We always hope the team's going to be better. I mean, realism sets in, though.
This team's peak, in my opinion, I don't think it's really changed a whole lot from the start of the season. This team's peak is a home playoff in the first round, basically. That is the peak of this team. The floor, I don't think they're a spoon contender this year. The floor is going to be missing out, finishing 10th, 11th in the Western Conference. The likely potential based off the way the first stretch of the season has gone, probably 8-9 again would be a realistic expectation based off what we're seeing and knowing we don't have the toolbox getting complete for 2/3 of the season like we did last year.
Looking at the standings right now,
making an Open Cup run.
Yeah, Open Cup run. I think that's actually what we're hoping for now. But they're like 8 points out of 4th place, so a good above mid-pack spot. But they're only 4 points above 14th in the West.
Oh. Do we have any final thoughts on this game? I wanted to talk about the. I got to go see the stadium today for the Current. Unless you have any other thoughts, Thad.
I don't have any thoughts I would care to share.
I know. I'm ready to just move on past this one. The Behind the Shield last week was 5 minutes long. I think a couple weeks ago they had like a 25-minute episode, and it has whittled all the way down to 5 minutes because there's just not a lot of fun to talk about at the moment.
And they're having to stretch to get new people to talk every week.
Yeah, I know.
Because I think everybody else is getting frustrated.
Yeah, and that guy that they interviewed this week said the team makes a big point about not losing 2 games in a row. And the second he said that, I knew exactly what was going to happen this week. Anyway, 10th place for them. Union Omaha this week. Can turn our eyes to another competition, lower competition, so that hopefully we can get a win out of that. Like I said, I'm leaving, so I will not be able to do an episode after that. Hopefully I can force Thad and Robert and everybody else to get one of those in. I don't know.
I will cobble one together on Thursday because it won't be on Wednesday because I'll be in Omaha coming back from there.
Oh, good. You're going. That'll be fun. Hopefully.
Hopefully. I don't have necessarily the greatest road record in going to watch sporting, but I really hope not to go see a loss in Omaha.
Oh man, how dumb will you feel on that drive home? You just went to Omaha to watch them lose to a lower level team.
Hey, I've went to Omaha to watch the 2 team play, so
it'll be interesting to see what the lineup is. I mean, the injuries were there for sporting, and they already often do a lot of heavy squad rotation for this, so it'll be interesting what they do with that.
It will. Mike, would you, if your Vermees play a very heavy first team roster to see if they can gain some confidence scoring goals against a lesser division team, or just rotate as heavy as you can and play a mostly 2-team-ish level, back of the bench kind of guys?
So basically, should he do what he did against Tulsa last year is what you're asking.
Oh, yeah.
At this point. I don't know if I'd go all out with Polito and Shallowy, but I would probably start Shallowy in that because he's of the front 3, he's probably looked the most needing a goal to get his feet back under him, I guess would be a good way of putting it. So
would you say somebody needs to pick him up a little?
Get a goal?
Somebody needs to pick him up a little bit. Is that what you're saying?
Oh no. It's too soon. Too soon, Thad. Oh my God. We're moving on. I'm moving on to the Current. Thad, I got to check out the stadium today. It was very cool that the Current did that. They opened it up for a watch party. I think most of the people were there doing what I was doing, which was just taking it as an opportunity to see the stadium for the first time. But Thad, you made a point. You were disappointed in all of Kansas City soccer. That's your name here in the chat. What disappointed you about the Current today?
They didn't win.
Against a
They
bad
played in
team.
Houston. They played in Houston. They had a 1-0 lead in the first half, and then at the half, the game was postponed or not postponed. What's the right word?
Delayed. It was delayed for like 10 hours.
Massive delay. They came back, so the game ended up being a total of 6 hours long, and they still should have held out. They should still have gotten a win, but AD Franch kind of flubbed a ball. It bounced off of Ellie Wheeler, bounced off of AD Franch, bounced off of somebody else, went to a Houston player who got their first ever professional goal, and then it was a 1-1 draw.
Yeah, I didn't see that second goal, but the goal that Chawinga scored, I'm putting in parentheses, scored that goal. I was talking about Eric Tommy's moment not being a good advertisement for the league. This one, it was ugly on Chawinga's finish. It was ugly on the keeper. It was a very ugly goal. But yeah, it's disappointing that they went to Houston, who's a very poor team, and they couldn't get the win after, beating the top of this league so thoroughly at the beginning of the season.
But see, that's the difference between the Current and Sporting right now. The Current forward flubs a ball, and the Houston keeper actually did the exact right thing. She dove the exact right way to where the ball should have went.
It was just in slow-mo. She just dove in slow motion.
But when it hit Chawinga, and it just kind of bounced off and went the exact opposite way of where you expect that ball to go, and then slowly rolled across the line with everybody trying to run and do something about it. That's the difference right now. You can screw something up if you're a KC Current player and still get a goal. You can get a perfect pass and trip over it if you're a Sporting player. it's just the mentality right now.
It's as Thad put it, when you're hitting on all cylinders like the Current have this season, mistakes turn into good things for you. When you're going through 5 unbeaten and it's been over a month since your last win, your mistakes become memes, basically. is what happens, and that's kind of what that's kind of the situation that the two teams are in now. The Current got a goal on a fluffed shot, and Eric Tommy is falling over when Salt Lake gift him a back pass.
Yeah, it's just the way it is. I mean, it sucks, but I'm sitting here watching on this other computer over here, time after time, Shallowy gets picked up. It's like I feel like I'm rickrolling myself with this.
Yeah, you don't need to keep watching the same video. He gets picked up the same way every time.
I know, it's the computer's just there. I haven't went to a new window.
Glutton for punishment.
What's that?
He's just a glutton for punishment.
Pretty much. It's making myself feel bad for having not watched the game live last night.
No, like I said, you didn't miss anything. Not even worth it to go back and watch.
Just and to keep up the theme, SKC2 lost today 2-0 in Lawrence.
Saw that.
That finished right as we were starting this.
And we mentioned briefly the Comets earlier. The Comets lost Game 1 and Game 2 of the finals against Chihuahua. Chihuahua they're just meaner. They were just meaner and more physical, and that's just a very good team. I didn't realize that it's their 3rd year in existence, and they won undefeated or something like that. They dominated last year in their 2nd year in existence, and so they've won 2 out of the first 3 years.
Well, they won last year and this year, and they're a really good team. They couldn't beat Monterey this year, but fortunately Monterey got knocked out, so they were able to pretty much beat everybody else.
Man, I hate to say it, but I think it's a lot of the teams in this league are pulling just from local talent a little bit, and the local talent around these Mexican cities is just simply better.
Well, in fairness, though, Comets took them to the brink on both games. I mean, the Comets had the lead. Chihuahua had to come back in both of those games, and it was really tight games in both of those. It's if the ball bounces the right way on a different one, Comets actually outshot them in Chihuahua. So they had their chances, and they came up just short.
They had every chance in the first game at home and just couldn't get it done. But it was interesting watching that game in Chihuahua. That building that they play in is crazy. There's a lot of fans that are just goes up very high, and they're right above you on the field. It was a cool thing they got going on. But yeah, I very much enjoyed indoor soccer this year. That was a good run for the Comets. They're a fun team, led the league in attendance.
Perhaps we should do another live pod there next year for their home opener.
Okay, let's do that. And yes, so the live show thing. At the radio stations that I work at, I am in the process of getting them set up for video and live streaming and all that. Yes, these radio stations are lacking cameras in them. They have a news talk radio station, and they still haven't put cameras in there for that guy. So I'm bringing the radio industry into the 21st century. And once we do that, we'll be able to do some live shows. And so maybe expect that coming on Sunday. If we do that, Thad, we're going to have to start picking a time every week. This is when Shades of Blue records every week. Or at least we can get close to that time. I know that's difficult for us to do, but I think we can get that done.
No, we can't, because I'm always going to... No, man, I'm just being honest. I'm not trying to be an asshole. I mean, there's times I am just trying to be an asshole, but I'm not trying to be an asshole at this point. Sporting plays, KC Current plays, SKC2 plays. There's going to be national team games that we care about, Copa America games.
Yeah.
It's virtually impossible to just say we're going to record at this time every week because, this week, I mean, the Current played at noon. I thought, hey, cool, I'm going to go to the Current. I'm going to go to SKC2. It's at 6. I'm going to have a couple hours in between to finish the recap and do some other work and stuff like that. I still haven't finished the recap because I've been trying to arrange getting Mike and you and me all on the same pod at the same time. And I'm going to probably record a current pod in about a half hour.
Busy man. It's all about KC soccer.
So I still got to finish the recap for the current. So don't blame me for ignoring NWSL because I'm not trying to do that. And I got, I don't know, about 2,000 photos to edit from last night. Wow. So that's not me whining, but I guess it was.
No, we don't need to go. It doesn't have to go. Of course, with the schedule, it won't be the same time every week. But we need to have a general rule of thumb, which we already do. It's generally Sunday evenings if we're not doing it live in the studio. So we have a general rule of thumb, and we'll stick to that the best we can.
I promise to do the best we can.
But the key that you're forgetting is I'm building an army of people here, of multiple people. So you, Mr. Man About Town, taking pictures at every freaking soccer game in every corner of this city, might not be able to attend all of them, but we've got an army of people here who I should be able to get, 3-4 people into that studio at the right time every week.
Which is true. I part of it is I want to be on there as much as I possibly can because I like talking about soccer.
And we want you on there as often as you can.
And 2, you always go, well, Thad, are you available? You available? You ready? So, yeah, I feel like I need to be there. Hey, on a positive thing, because we didn't really say this, but we were trying to have a live pod from the current stadium today, and I'm kind of glad we didn't now with how everything went.
Yeah.
But they were very willing to host us, and we ran out of time. We kind of came up with the idea a little bit late.
Yeah.
Cody had the great idea, but it was just a little bit late. And between other stuff, we didn't quite get it arranged enough that we felt comfortable doing it because we wanted to make sure that we had the same idea, the same positive way of going forward with it. So it didn't happen. But in searching for some other people to join, I may have came up with another couple of people to join me on some current pods going forward.
Good. Let's grow the community. I like it.
Trying to.
Are we forgetting anything from Kansas City Soccer? We shouted out all of the teams. Thad, you want to give us one final thought on Sporting Kansas City? Where you're at? Can you give us some hope, maybe? Give us a little shining light?
Well, I was going to say no, I can't, but I will.
I was kind of hoping that's what you were going to do, and then I could just end the show right there.
Like I said earlier, they're not that far off of being a reasonably decent team with some confidence and just some getting form going. They could be a good enough team that we enjoy them through the season. But the reason I was going to say no was just to flip it on the other side is that a lot of local amateur or semi-pro teams are going to be starting to play this month. KC Soul, KC Courage, Sunflower State FC. I know I'm forgetting a couple. Mike, who am I forgetting?
You got the MPSL teams that I was thinking of. But that would actually be something to get into. Would be the KC Derby between Sunflower and the Soul. Yep. They play each other twice this year because they're in the same division. What a amazing, shocking concept, putting two teams from the same city in the same division.
And I'm going to try to have some pods that just cover a little bit of the local stuff over the next month also.
Good. I like the sound of that. That was positive. Thank you for that.
I love you too, Cody.
Don't seem so tough. And 3 own goals ain't all that rough. Our skipper has just been sent off. Supporters strong have all gone soft. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. Give me beer or whiskey, wine or gin. Anything to shake this mood I'm in. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking.